You said you had a CRM use case?
Yeah, so I mentioned this all the time. So I've been using trace bullets to go through the various bots.
Yep.
Had, as expected, some quite good stuff coming up when I did that first manual system prompt. So I'm expecting that to work, but the cycle of create a bot and the judge and then the marker. I've been just creating random scenarios. It would be good to actually get a real scenario that is useful.
Okay.
But this comes down to the CRM and what would be
The
useful.
CRM's number one because if we can get the CRM up, that's a working use case that we could spend weeks on getting it right. It's a customer sitting at the end of it, using it every day, desperate
Right,
to use it, and it's
right.
money.
Yeah. So my ask is, um, other than generic CRM, I don't know anything really about their business. I don't know what would be useful as a traceability. What I'm looking for is one kind of action or process that they need to carry out that
Mhm.
hits every branch on the tree down, as it were.
Yep. So think of things like reporting, um, search filtering of like give me all the customers that have this property.
Yeah. Well, this search is easy enough. That only touches on the static data and bringing it in. I could do that. I could knock that out in an hour. What I was thinking more about was what's the what's the, what's the biggest pain point in them? Sorry for being vague, but because I don't know their business.
Yep.
Um, they move stuff from point A to point B. They've got routing.
So
Um,
they do green waste collection, and the process goes: someone signs up, someone deposits a minimum payment of like $50, and chooses a schedule because the trucks operate on regular routes,
mhm.
and then the customer needs to select a suitable day when the truck is going past their house and a suitable frequency, like I want to be collected from every 2 weeks, every 3 weeks, every 4 weeks, something like that.
Yep.
Then a bin with a serial number is attached to their customer record.
Mhm.
The bin goes out on the truck for that, for like a day before, or like a suitable time beforehand. It gets dropped off. The next time that they come, when their cycle becomes due, there's a routing system that decides in the morning what is the order of the collections going to be.
Mhm.
The collections are picked up by the truck. Some customers have a paper invoice dropped in a mailbox. Others receive an email to say that it's happened. The account gets debited, and that's it. Job done.
Okay. So where's their major pain points? So there's a few there. They've already got a routing algo, right? Are they? Is that a pain point, or would that be like a finesse?
The
Is
routing
the pain
is a
point
pain
sending out
point,
invoices,
but
or
the algorithm we're using to solve that has been agreed upon after many years. So the work to implement it is small. the
right?
The
Okay, so that's
outcome
not
is
very
that,
useful.
okay,
Yeah.
here's a list of customers for the day, and this is the order that they're going to be in. So we can treat the how the order happened as a bit of a black box. Um, Here is the order, is what the result was, and then the um, CRM carries on from there.
So where's their pain point? Is it simply normal CRM, add a customer, alter a customer, customers phoned up?
The
and
exact
then
pain
talk
point
about
for
a customer?
them is that the existing CRM is very painful to use because it was a small business accounting system that they've
Mm-hmm.
shoehorned into a CRM. And so there's a lot of things like custom fields being used, special codes being used to represent business information, as opposed to that business information being discretely defined within the CRM.
Right. But with NL, you don't need to discretely define. You just need to kind of vector space get close.
In
Um,
the format of the data, you need
mm,
to be um, the records. There's no reason for them not to be identically formatted. I don't see any benefit in not. Like, I expect the natural language workers or the drones to
mhm.
be the ones that make any changes to the records, but that ability to have them all be conformant to a template, to have bots that figure out what the template should be, bots that recognize when a template change is in order that will update all records because there's been usage that knocks on the edges of the tin or edges of the basket, so to speak.
Because it's fragile with what they've got. Okay.
It's
They want.
fragile what they've got, but it's also human nature to want to change. And
Yeah.
so, whilst we could hard spec in NL what the CRM was supposed to do, it's of
Mhm.
more interest to me that we should start with the proverbial blank-ish slate and
Mhm.
be able to increment
Right.
the
Right. Okay.
template as
Yeah. Good.
needs
That's more of
expand.
an AI. Yeah. That's more of an AI thing.
And if we can
So
do
if.
that, that's better because just because they think they've got one template in mind now, you can for sure guarantee that a few months later there'll be a change.
Yeah. Right. Okay. So there's two phases by the sounds of it. Okay. So there's. Just going to create a new bot name, boot bot. Boot bot.
Mm.
Um, blank sheet of paper, which is going to be um, uh, prompted to want to ask the user, okay, so give us something, name,
Yeah.
address,
So,
sort
well,
of
I
thing.
think I think that the when you start a CRM, it is an incredible amount of information to begin with the basic folder structure and
Hmm.
template. And just
Hmm.
because the template is malleable doesn't mean it needs to be blank. Like, you can
Hmm.
start it with a starter for 10,
That'd be much more
right?
helpful.
That's light years ahead of trying to get the
Yeah.
blank slate
So
to
here's what we got, and what we want to do is make it malleable and at all times completely incorrect.
correct, consistent, strongly
Yeah.
consistent. And so that every drone needs to be able to look at the template and then force the template upon the task that they're doing.
Yeah. Okay.
Right?
So do we have an example of their data structure as that starter for 10?
I do, but it is so close to just if you go to GPT and you're like, give me an example customer record for a CRM, it'll spit out something that's
All right. Okay. So
right.
it's,
It's
okay. Real
yeah,
simple.
yeah. So
I'm reckoning it's something like name, address,
yeah,
frequency,
yeah.
probably
So
number of services.
yeah, and then there'll
That's
be there's the the foundational structure of the CRM that we should hard code involves relationships and concepts such as, first of all, customer records are in the customers folder and they follow the template called underscore customer template dot md.
right. Yeah. That's
Right,
the
but
example.
then
Yeah. Yeah.
secondly, then there's another folder called transactions, which
Hmm.
contains within it a set of files that are arranged to represent the transactions for each customer.
Hmm.
And critically, there is a relationship between the file name of the customer record and the customer ID that the transaction represents. So
Mm-hmm.
there's a bit of data structure to be put in there around these kinds of concepts, because you can't leave those concepts to be open ended. Though
Mm-hmm.
that is what a CRM is. That is
Right.
yeah,
Yeah.
the fields you
The,
fill in there.
yeah.
It's almost
Yeah.
entirely up to you, right? But it's that data structure is never going to be discovered by a bot, and you wouldn't want it to be. You want to force that upon the system, and then you want to let the users and the intelligence iterate it to fit their needs, but it will always have that structure.
So what I'm thinking is there seems to be two chunks of data here. The first one is the really obvious stuff about identity of the customer.
Right,
The second thing is probably far more malleable, which is services and restrictions on those services,
right,
um, and price of those services.
right,
Um, so those two need to go into separate parts. The third part would be the transaction, where someone's looked at, let's call the second one a menu, looked at the menu and saying, yeah, okay, I want Thursday this
right,
in blah, blah.
right.
And they know who is asking
Yeah,
that.
right. Okay, so in sort of modular terms, you'd have that core structure of the customer records, the menu that's available for a customer to select from, um, and the transactions that occur that the customer made, and the
Yeah,
communications with the customer would be another preset folder structure. And then you could define modular things like this truck collection schedule is sort of, it's special to just this, only these guys have that extra
mm-hmm.
constraint. So that could be inserted as just like another folder in the system that had a
Mm-hmm.
bunch of NL constraints on it there. And it
Yeah,
could, like it could have this relationship with a customer record, but it just means that we can add future features depending on customer needs as this pluggable sort of a thing, where so long as it meets an interface requirement,
right.
like
Yeah, okay.
because the menu the menu, I love this problem that these guys have. It sounds so simple on the outside, but the menu is dependent on the truck schedule. Like, you can't just grab anything you like from the menu. You need to put in your
Ah,
GPS coordinates, and then the truck routing system will tell you what
that's
you
the
could.
constraints I was missing. I was talking about. So give me an example for constraint. I'm asking for my bin on a Thursday. I'm at this address.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's on our menu, but sorry, sunshine. Mm,
the
Not going to
nearest
happen.
thing. Yeah,
But
so what I would
I could
expect an
change.
intelligent system to do then is
Mm,
negotiate with the customer in natural language and be like, "Oh, look, we don't have anyone that can service you on that day. I've made a note to
mm-hmm,
indicate demand is there for that day. So, if that day becomes available, I can get back to you if you like.
mm-hmm.
Um, your next nearest day um, is Friday.
Okay, so how do they currently encode their routes? So, for example, they've got a truck going down these streets on this day, um,
Yeah.
and we're saying, well, someone would like them to come up here. Uh,
Okay. So the way
yeah.
that they do it is that these guys have a very interesting. Oh, look at that! It's a
Hmm,
it's a jet.
so,
Can you see a
oh, yeah,
jet
it's not
out
bad.
the window?
Yeah, that's quite nice contrail. They haven't got the contrail right because it should be expanding based on time. But
Yeah,
yeah.
close enough. The interesting feature about these guys is that they are big enough that they cover every street.
Mm-hmm.
And so if they don't cover an exact street, then that'll simply just be added to be done.
Right. And there's, I'd love to understand the algo, mostly because as an undergrad, I actually did this in AI, which was how to optimize,
Yeah,
effectively the
this
traveling salesman
algorithm
problem.
is this.
Yeah.
They would like the algorithm kept proprietary. I will tell you off the record. But
Yeah, yeah.
it's
Yeah, no, it's
it,
no problems. If they've got an answer to that one, it's a juicy answer though. It's a juicy question.
it's a juicy answer, and we
Yeah.
have had it. It's a crazy simple solution I've got that no computer scientist would ever come up with, but it works really well. So
Okay.
anyway,
Right.
if we
But
treat
at the moment, it's a black box
yeah,
that says says what a route is.
yeah,
That route needs to be understood by the AI, so we need some form of representing that route.
right, but
So that
it's not the from the AI's point of view, it's just order. It's not the fact that it is GPS coordinates is confusing. The CRM does not need to know that. It just needs to know how to store that,
yeah,
and
no, I
it
wasn't
needs
thinking about GPS. What I was thinking about is just basically uh, a non-cyclical graph. You know, it's like
it's just
it
it
seems
comes
simple,
out as an order of customers that are to be serviced in a batch
right?
that represents a truck. So you're like,
Yeah,
this truck in this order has these customers.
yeah. And the change would be we're now adding this new customer at
Yeah,
this point in the order,
correct. Yep, yep,
and that's it.
yep.
Yeah, and we'll allow the routing to decide whether that's worth their while, cost-wise, because maybe it might be 100 miles away, it might be 100 meters away.
Yeah. So the addresses are the map is cut up into buckets, where a bucket
Mm-hmm,
is a serviceable area. If your
mm-hmm,
address is outside the serviceable area, your menu is blank. Sorry.
mm-hmm,
Inside the serviceable area, you are subject to the frequency of the trucks.
mm-hmm,
The order is something that you currently don't have any say over as a customer, but they would like to in the future move to be able to be a lot more like Uber, where it's on demand as well as on demand, sort of with a bit
okay.
more accuracy than just this day. It's like on demand within a couple of hours type of thing.
Ooh,
And there's
wow. That's
why I like that
some
is
interesting one.
because what I have understood about their business is that in order to supply an Uber-like service where you have a limited number of specialist vehicles like a waste truck, you
Mm-hmm,
need a certain number of customers to efficiently cover an area enough that you're always near enough when someone asks to do something.
mm-hmm,
That level of saturation, this has taken them years to build up. And so what I realized is that if you can find similar franchises or businesses around the place that have reached a suitable saturation point, and or you're able to economically combine similar franchises in an area, you can
mm-hmm,
offer that next level of service, which is pure Uberization, and nobody can touch you because you can't
mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
just you can't turn it on without a massive outlay that's cost prohibitive, and so it
Yeah.
ends up suppressing any competition in the area, particularly if you've moved in and bought up if you built your service level out of acquired franchises. The
Mm.
ability for someone else to come in and offer that Uber-like service is near impossible.
So, what's their metrics? It sounds something like, I don't know, cost per mile per pickup, something like that.
They it doesn't really need to be that advanced from what
Mm-hmm,
I understand. It's really just the cost for the day was this much in terms of the truck um, amortization. the cost of the labor for the driver and the cost of the fuel. And
Right,
you
which you
take,
could just roll up into a truck day, let's call it.
yeah,
So
yeah,
one truck day.
yeah. So the cost
Okay.
optimization is not, it really doesn't matter at the level of detail that you just described
Mm-hmm.
for them. W- Yeah, I thought it mattered too when I started, but actually,
Yeah.
that's not really what
Well, they're the
counts.
they're the experts. I haven't picked up a
Yeah,
single
yeah.
failure
It's
in a
funny
truck
that
ever.
right? Like it's like yeah, it's funny the things that they learn to focus on that we think are important but aren't. But
Yeah.
the way that they look at that is very much higher level. Now
Yeah.
we want to charge for our software on a per collection basis. So we need to get into those metrics and figure out how that works. But it does, there is a relationship between like it kind of, obviously some pickups are more expensive than others, but
Mm-hmm.
it doesn't really matter because just getting the
Well,
truck on the
there's
road for the day
yeah,
was the
there's
biggest cost. Like just
if
turning
they're
up.
looking at truck days, there's the marginal cost of fuel and driver. There's also the fixed cost of truck.
Mm,
Um, so probably the marginal cost isn't that large, and so they thought, actually, no, we'll just scrub around that bit. If it can be practically be done inside of a shift of
yeah.
one driver, hey,
Yeah, because the biggest cost is turning up, and then after that, it's sort
yeah,
of yeah, like the marginal cost is very small, relatively speaking.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Okay, so what we've got is two parts. We've got the static data, well, the core kind of CRM, which is just basically customers, right? Their
I'm
data.
I'm really sorry, but I have to go now.
Oh yeah, you said no worries.
Yeah.
Ping me when you're back on,
Okay.
and I'll
No
do a
worries.
couple of sketches around
Okay.
this.
Yeah, that sounds good. This is
This is
really good.
golden.
The
This is
CRM is the
golden.
number one thing to get going. It actually includes all the problems that we've ever had with the blockchain platform, the AI platform. It's an extraordinarily reusable piece of software. This is the thing we've
Yeah,
got to get out the door,
yeah. And
no
it's
matter what.
also very practical.
Yeah.
Yeah, nice one. All right, I'll see
Okay.
you in. Well, ping me whenever you're free.
I will. Yep. Thank you.
Nice one.
See
All
you
right,
soon.
see you, man.